Millennials are financially screwed, or at least that's what the media makes it seem, because of all the financial struggles that millennials have to go through, but it doesn't have to be that way, because in this video, I'm going to be going over some of the things that you can be doing right now to build your wealth. What's up everybody, I am Jaspreet Singh from theminorityMindset.com, where money minds rethink rich. Becoming wealthy or financially free is more about what you do with your money after you get paid than it is about how much money you're actually getting paid. Everybody goes through 3 different phases when you're learning how to become wealthy. The first phase is you learn how to save money. You learn how to live below your means. You learn how to be frugal because now you're just trying to put some extra cash aside. That way you have some extra money to build your wealth. Phase 2 is all about growth. You're starting to see a little bit of success because now you have some extra cash. And now you're trying to figure out, how do you amplify this? How do you grow your money? How do you attract more money? And how can you actually grow your pie? Phase 3 is all about learning how to spend. How do you spend your money like wealthy people? How do you get the most value out of your dollar? How do you get the most value out of your time? If you really want to enjoy being wealthy, you need to also know how to spend your money, because otherwise you're going to be stuck in that phase 1 mindset, because now you're going to have money in the bank and you're going to have investments paying you every single month and you'll be able to afford a much better lifestyle. But if you can't get yourself to go out and spend money, if you can't get yourself to go out and enjoy your life and enjoy the luxuries that you can afford, then you're not going to be able to enjoy your wealthy life. Like I'll tell you, for me, I started off by never wanting to go on vacation because I wanted to save every penny possible, phase 1. Then I wanted to take every penny that I saved and invest it as aggressively as possible into things like real estate. That way I could create more cash flow, phase 2. And then I went from, now when I go on a long flight, I don't want to sit in economy. I want to sit in business class. That way I can have some extra leg room. That way I can sit comfortably and sleep on the plane, phase 3. The way that you become wealthy is not by having a fancy degree or by earning a big salary. It's by using your money the right way when you get paid. That's why in this video, I'm going to be going over 5 things that you, especially millennials, need to do right now when you get paid. That way you can become wealthy. But before we get into these 5 things, I need you to do me a quick favor and smash that thumbs up button below. And if you're looking for some extra minority mindset, we have a couple new YouTube channels. We have the Minority Mindset Clips channel, where we post our best highlights and our best clips. And then we also have the Minority Mindset Spanish channel, where we take our content and we post it in Spanish for all of our Spanish speakers. We're posting content daily on both of these channels, so if you want to get some more minority mindset, I'll put the link to how you can subscribe to both of these channels in the description below. The first thing you gotta do when you get paid, if you want to become wealthy, is you have to pay yourself first. See, what the majority of people do is, as soon as they get paid, they see the money hit their bank account, and then they call up their cousin Bunty and they say, "Hey Bunty, you want to go to the mall?" Cousin Bunty isn't the best influence financially, so now you go over to the Gucci store, the Apple store, the Lululemon store, and now you pay them. You pay Gucci, you pay Apple, you pay Lululemon, and now your money is gone. You have paid Gucci, you have paid Lululemon, you have paid Apple, you haven't paid yourself. This is where now the majority of financial advice says that if you want to become wealthy, all you gotta do is take a little bit of your paycheck and put it into your 401k or put it into your IRA. Now, your 401k and your IRA are great investments for average people. But if you don't want to be average, you can't keep investing your money like average people. You have to do more than that. Have you ever heard of a super rich person talk about how they got rich because of the 401k? No. This is where you gotta think a little bit bigger. So when we talk about paying yourself first, the very first thing you gotta do is you gotta create a financial system. And one of the simplest financial systems that you can follow is our 75-15-10 plan, which says that from now on, every dollar that you earn is gonna flow through this system. It's kind of like a funnel, where now a dollar flows in, and now you tell yourself that 75 cents is the maximum that you can spend, 15 cents is the minimum you should be investing, and 10 cents is the minimum that you should be saving. So this is what you spend, this is what you grow, and this is what you save. And this is going to be outside of your 401k and your IRA. The best way to go about doing this is to create 3 different bank accounts. And anytime you get paid, you have an automatic withdrawal, which is going to take the money out of your checking account and move it somewhere else. It's going to move it into a savings account, and it's going to move it into an investment account. That doesn't necessarily mean that this money is going to be invested right away. It's just a separate bank account with money that is supposed to be invested. You don't want to keep all this money in one bank account, because then you might accidentally spend your investment money on a brand new TV, or you might spend your savings on a brand new car. These things need to be separate. That way you know what's for growing to build your wealth, and what's for savings. Now next time you go to the mall with your cousin Bunty, you're not going to be able to give all your money to Gucci and Apple and Amazon because you already paid yourself first. The second thing you do when you get paid is you need to know how to save your money smartly. So now you're following the system. You have 3 different bank accounts. 75% of every dollar that you earn goes here, 15% of every dollar that you earn goes here, and 10 cents are going into your savings. But one of the worst things that you can do is just save your money forever. So when I was growing up, I was always told that I needed to become a doctor like every other brown person in the world. And the reason why I needed to become a doctor is because I would make a big salary. And the benefit of a big salary is you get to save a whole lot of money. Because now, if you make it $300,000 a year, you can save $250,000 a year and live off of 50. The problem with that, there's a lot of problems with that, but the main problem with that on the savings side is your savings are never going to make you wealthy. Sorry, mom and dad, and sorry, uncle, auntie, but you can never save your way to wealth, especially in the economic environment that we're in right now. When you take $1,000 or $10,000 or $100,000 and you save this money in your bank account, your bank is going to pay you nothing. Your bank is going to pay you 0.01% a year in interest on your money, while the price of things around you, the price of everything, your housing, your groceries, your vacations, your healthcare, the price of all these things are going to grow way faster than 0.01% a year. The price of everything around you is getting so expensive while your savings are just sitting there dead. Your savings are not growing. You can never save your way to wealth. The value that savings have are not to make you wealthy. Your savings are supposed to be there to protect you against a financial emergency. So when something goes wrong, when your car breaks down or your kid's arm breaks, now you have some savings you can fall back on that we don't got to go into debt to pay for this cost. This is why your savings are here. You have to understand this if you really want to ever have a shot at becoming wealthy. The only reason why you should be saving money is to protect yourself from a financial emergency. If you want to become wealthy, you have to be growing your money. I'll get to that in just a second. But if you really want to understand this, that means you need to know how much money you need to save and never save a penny more than that. That way you can invest every extra penny. So you want to be saving somewhere between 3 months and 12 months worth of expenses, depending on how risk tolerant you are. If you have a higher risk tolerance, then you might only need 3 months worth of your savings sitting in a savings account somewhere. If you're not as risk tolerant and you want to be more safe and more protected financially, then you can put 12 months worth of your expenses in a savings account. After that, you do not want to save another penny because your savings are not going to make you wealthy. So you want to follow this financial system until you hit your savings goal. And once you hit the savings goal, then you want to reroute these savings into your investment money. So now you have 25% of your money minimum being invested, growing to make you wealthy. The third thing you got to do when you get paid is you need to know how to grow your money. Time is your best friend when we talk about growing your money. So if you're young, this is the best time to start. If you can invest $350 a month between the ages of 21 and 31, and that's all you do. You invest $350 a month every single month, and you can get a decent 8% return on your money. And after the age of 31, you don't invest another penny. You just let the money compound at the same rate until you retire. You will be able to retire a millionaire even if you never invest another penny after you turn 31. Now, I'm not saying you shouldn't invest another penny after 31. You want to keep investing aggressively. That way you can build more wealth. But this is the power of time and knowing how to grow your money the right way. So how do you actually go about growing this money? Well, the first thing you got to do is you need to have some cash to invest. So you want to take this cash, put it in a separate bank account. Now we have some money to invest, and this is where you got to figure out your investment strategy. If you want to be completely passive, you don't want to even think about your investments because you don't like doing that, well then you can just invest your money into ETFs on the stock market. If you like the stock market but you want to be more involved, then you can look at individual stocks and investing in. If you want to be more hands-on and you want to get consistent cash flow, then you can invest your money into real estate. You don't have to do just one or the other. I do all three of these things, but you have to understand what your goal is, what your strategy is, and you need the cash to do that. I own rental properties and I'm always looking for more real estate investment deals, and these properties are paying me rent every single month. I also have money in the market where I'm looking for individual stocks. I look for stocks that I believe in, that I think are undervalued, that I want to own for the long term. I put my money into them and then I hold on to them for years. I also have a passive investment strategy where every single week I have some money being taken out of my checking account, going into the stock market, into a few different ETFs. That way I get exposure to the stock market. So you don't have to only stick with one strategy, but you got to start with one, and you got to know what your goal is with each strategy that you do. I'm not going to get into the how-tos of how to invest your money in this video, but if you do want to learn more about this type of financial education and how to manage your money and invest your money to build wealth, our team put together an amazing guide that walks you through money management and investing. That way you can build your wealth This guide is completely free when you sign up for our daily newsletter. So if you want to read a free guide on how to start investing and building your wealth, I'll put the link to how you can download this guide in the description below. You got to understand, if you want to become wealthy, this is what is going to make you wealthy. It's not going to be this, and it's not going to be this. You buy nice cars, nice clothes, and a big house is not going to make you wealthy. You going out and saving all of your money in the bank is not going to make you wealthy. If you really want to become wealthy, and I'm not just talking about average wealthy, I'm talking about really wealthy, you need to be focusing here. How can you grow your money more? If you are serious about becoming wealthy, then there are 2 rules that I want you to follow. Rule number 1, before you buy a home to live in, buy a property to rent out. And number 2, anytime you spend $1, invest a dime. The home that you're living in is not going to make you rich. Sure, you can make money on your home if you sell it for more than what you bought it for, but if you really want to become wealthy, you want to think of your home as a liability, as something that you just use, and you want to think of rental properties as an investment, because these are things that you're buying for the sole purpose of making money, and they will pay you every single month as you wait until you sell this property. One of the biggest changes that you can make is before you go out and you buy a home to live in yourself, you go out and you buy a rental property. Then, after you have this rental property, then you can think about buying a home, and now the rental property that you own will pay for your mortgage for you. And once you start to see the type of cash flow, you're gonna want to do it again and again and again. That way you can ramp up that cash flow, and now you have cash flow producing assets that are paying for your expenses. I didn't grow up learning about real estate investing or passive income or investing in general. This was something I fell into. When I was 19 years old, I invested into my first real estate investment property. I was in college, I had some cash in the bank because I was running an event planning business at the time, and this was back right after the real estate crash, the 2008 crash. So real estate prices were rock bottom. I had no idea what I was doing, but every book that I read, every wealth book that I read, said that wealthy people own real estate. I had no idea what that meant because I didn't know any real estate investors, but I went out and I bought my first property. It was a small little condo. I wasn't going to live there myself. I was renting it out to somebody else, and this condo, after paying all of my expenses, put $250 into my pocket every single month, and after getting it all situated, I didn't have to do any work. This was cash flow coming into my pocket every single month, whether I went to work or whether I didn't go to work. Remember, your wealth is built here. It's not built here, and it's not built here. So if you want to become wealthy, you have to put extra emphasis on putting your money into places where you're going to be getting paid. The second simple change that you can make is anytime you spend $1, invest a dime. Before you go out and you spend $1,000 on a brand new iPhone, take $100 and invest it into the Apple company. Next time you go out and you spend $20,000 on a brand new car, take $2,000 and put it into the car company. Now what you're doing is you have a producer first mindset. You're not just thinking about spending your money, you're thinking about owning the asset where you're spending the money. So now you're shifting your mindset from just a consumer to a producer. You're building that wealth mindset, and you're really putting your money where your wallet is. The fourth thing you gotta do now as you get paid, as you start to build this wealth, is you gotta know how to spend your money like wealthy people do. Here's the thing, wealthy people are not drowning themselves in debt just so they can buy Rolex. And they're not stretching themselves thin to go and buy a Gucci wallet. And they're not opening up a brand new credit card to go shop at Louis Vuitton. So when we talk about spending like the wealthy, the first thing you gotta understand when it comes to these things, which are luxuries, liabilities, things that don't put any money in your pocket, no more financing these things, period. If it doesn't put any money in your pocket, you should not be financing it. Second, when it comes to these things which don't make you any money, which are not necessities, you gotta know what you can actually afford, because there's a difference between being able to buy something and being able to afford something. You can walk into the Apple store and walk out with a $1,000 iPhone by paying only $50 today. But just because you can qualify to buy something does not mean that you can afford it. If you want to be able to afford something, the easiest thing that you can do is just follow a rule of 5, which says if you cannot buy 5 of them, you cannot afford 1 of them. Now, as you start to build your wealth, you're gonna get a little bit more sophisticated. How can you use your money to give you the most value? How can you use your money to enjoy your money? Because now you're becoming wealthy. Well, the first thing you gotta do is you gotta make sure now that you're protecting your assets. You wanna make sure that you're protecting your wealth. That means having things like insurance. It's a small price you pay today to protect you against a big headache in the future. That means having things like wills and trusts. That way you know how your money and your assets are going to be divided after you die. The reason why I'm telling you this is because I'm a licensed attorney. I've heard of horror stories of people dying with a lot of money, a lot of assets, with no will, no trust, and no direction on what to do with their money after they die. And now you create this huge family fight, this financial mess, and then the government comes in and they have to decide what to do with their money. You don't want the government telling your family what to do with your money. So think ahead and start thinking about how to protect your assets. And when it comes to protecting your family, the goal is for you to have assets that your family can fall back on. That way, even if you were to die tragically, your family would have assets that they can rely on financially, so at least your family would be okay. Until you get to that point, you want to have life insurance as protection for your family, because if you are a breadwinner for your family and you were to suddenly die tragically and now your family lost your stream of income, you want to make sure that your family can still afford their lifestyle, they can still afford their standard of life without your income. The way you can do that is by having something like life insurance, because the way life insurance works is if you were to die unexpectedly within your life insurance term, then your life insurance company would come in and they would give your family a big check. That way at least they're okay financially. The good thing about life insurance is it doesn't have to cost you a whole lot of money either. Like if you're a healthy 30-year-old guy, you could get $1 million life insurance policy for something around $30 a month. If you are interested in learning more about how life insurance works and you want to see how much life insurance would cost you, you can check out our sponsor Policy Genius. They have a ton of education on their website which is completely free. That way you can learn about life insurance. You can talk to an expert to see if life insurance is right for you. And if you do want to learn more, the process is really simple. You just have to enter in a few pieces of information, which just takes a few minutes, and then they will give you different life insurance quotes from different providers. That way you can make sure that you're getting the best price possible, so you can keep more money in your pocket and not waste money on your life insurance. So if you want to learn more and see how you can get a free life insurance quote, I'll put the link to how you can do that with our sponsor in the description below. Now, when we talk about spending money like the wealthy, the thing that you have to remember is that you can always get more money, but the one thing that you cannot get more of is time. So when we talk about how to use your money smartly now, you want to use your money in a way that's going to get you the most value out of your time. Because we were talking about real estate investing just a minute ago, let me give you an example of what I mean through real estate investing. So when you invest in real estate, the way it works is you buy a rental property and then somebody's going to live in this property and they're going to pay you rent every single month. Now there's two ways that you can manage this property. You can manage this property yourself, so you have to find the tenant, you have to qualify the tenant. Anytime something's wrong with the property, the tenant's going to be calling you, and it's going to be your responsibility to pay all the bills and to make sure all the day-to-day things are done with the rental property. The alternative is you can hire a property management company. They'll charge you somewhere between 4% and 10% of your gross rental income, and in exchange, they'll make it completely hands-off for you. They'll find the tenants, they'll qualify them, they'll deal with all the headaches that come with managing a property. So if the toilet breaks, your property management company will be the ones that fix it, and they'll be the ones that pay all the bills. So all you gotta do is find the properties and give the keys to your property management company. A lot of people, when they get started with real estate investing, don't want to pay $100 a month to a property management company because they say, hey, I can just do this myself. But the thing that you're sacrificing to do it yourself is you're sacrificing your time. This is something that you can't get back. And so you got to remember, what do you want to be in the business of? Do you want to be in the business of managing your properties, or do you want to be in the business of finding more investment deals? Now, as we're talking about spending your money like the wealthy, what you want to do is you want to use your money to free up your time. That way you have more time to do whatever you want. And maybe that thing that you want to do is do more things that will attract you more money. So when we talk about spending like the wealthy, you got to figure out which things are important to you. Do you like luxury? Do you like having more free time to spend with your family? Do you like going on exotic vacations? Figure out the things that are important to you and be okay spending your money on these things, because this is what you're working so hard for. This can be hard if you really get stuck into the whole idea of trying to save every last penny. That's how I grew up. I grew up being told that I need to save as much money as possible, that I should not waste money, that I should not spend more than I need to. But then as you start to see more financial success and you want to start enjoying your money, you want to be okay spending your money. I've been spending a lot of time in Airbnbs recently. And most recently, I stayed at an Airbnb in Chicago for just over a month, and I could have gotten an Airbnb for a couple $1,000s, but I wanted something nicer. I wanted something where it had a nice city view and a great location. So instead, I picked an Airbnb that cost me more than $10,000 for 1 month. Now you can hear that and say, oh, who the heck needs to pay $10,000 for 1 month just to live somewhere? And you're right. You can live somewhere a whole lot cheaper. But I didn't want to do that. I wanted a nicer location. I wanted a nicer view, and I wanted a nicer unit, and I could afford it because of the previous steps that I talked about. I still got that voice in the back of my head saying, Jaspreet, why are you wasting so much money? But it goes back to this, spending money like the wealthy. What are you working so hard for? And being willing to spend money on the things that are important to you and that give you the most value in your life. And this brings me to the fifth thing you need to do when you get paid. Now you have a financial system. You know how to save, you know how to grow, you know how to spend. But if you want to get there faster, you need to put more money into your funnel, which means you got to know how to earn more money. Now there's a couple of aspects to this. You have the financial aspect and you got the time aspect. The financial aspect might be investing in classes, investing in books, investing in more education, so you know different ways that you can earn more money. It could also mean investing in other businesses. Maybe you're going to buy a business. Maybe you're going to buy a part ownership in a business. This way you have more money coming in. There's a lot of different things you can do. The internet makes this more accessible than ever, where now you can create a side hustle doing what you love. You can create a blog, you can start a podcast, you can start a YouTube channel, and these are all things that as you start to grow them will create a new stream of income for you. On the time side of things, you got to decide how much time you really want to devote to earning more money. Because if you do want to achieve this financial success faster, you are going to have to earn more money. And one of the ways you can do that is by investing more time into things that can earn you more money. That means maybe you're going to spend more of your time building a side business or building a second business. All the things that I just talked about are more accessible than ever, but that doesn't mean it's easy. You have a lot of people on the internet that are trying to create content, that are trying to get eyeballs on them, that are trying to make money on the internet, but the people that really make it are the people that invest back into their education. That way you can learn how to actually make money. You know the formula, you know the system, you know what it takes. Now what you have to do is you got to amplify the system. How do you get there faster? The way you get there faster is by throwing more fuel into the fire. In this case, it's by putting more money into the funnel. The way you can get more money is by investing more of your money and more of your time into things that will earn you more money. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, here's a video on how to build wealth that I think you'll love. Now while at it, download our free guide on money management and investing. And as always, keep hustling. But the reality is, building a business is not easy, and it is not for everybody. It looks cool and it looks attractive because entrepreneurship is fun, but it is hard work, and you do not get weekends off, you do not get evenings off. Building a business is hard and it's not for everybody.